Hello and welcome back to the Grapple Theory podcast. It's wonderful to have you with us once again today. And today, in our second interview of 2022, we're going to be joined by a very special guest. He's someone who really rose up the ranks last year, taking part in the Progress MPS series. He's had loads of matches in Progress, including a huge one for the Progress title against Coronel. We're going to be talking to him about that, of course. He's had some epic matches, some fantastic appearances, and it's great to see him rising through the ranks in Brit Rest over the last few years. It is, of course, I'm talking about the kid without fear. It's Danny Black. Danny, thank you for joining us on the Grapple Theory podcast. It's lovely to have you on. Talk to us about your 2021, first of all. How would you rate your year last year? Because it seems like you had a fantastic one.
2021 has been the best year of my wrestling career, easily, which is weird because, like, for a lot of people it was really bad because obviously things are like opening up, then closing, then opening up again. But I was so fortunate with having Progress tapings and getting to work with them throughout the times where I wasn't able to get any other bookings either. Was like incredible. I can't thank Progress enough for all they've done for me, because as well as giving me work during that time, it's not just any company giving me work. Like, it's one of the top companies in the UK who I've wanted to work for since I'd started wrestling, and they was giving me opportunities to wrestle like the best wrestlers in the country and the world, really. So yeah, it's been great doing that, and then ever since shows have come back properly, I've been really busy. I think, again, thanks to Progress and the exposure that gave me, like with the network and everything, I've just been like very busy with bookings. But again, that's all you can ask for, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. No, exactly. And you mentioned that obviously we'll talk about Progress as well, because you mentioned coming back to it, and obviously they were running before everywhere else was running because they were on the network. They were doing these closed tapings. And I think, if I'm right, doing my research for this, before that you'd had like one or two dark matches at Progress.
I had one pre-show match.
So how did it feel to be part of Progress proper, and even though there was no fans, to be part of that, like you said, such a big promotion coming back as well, them putting that faith in you to be part of their comeback?
Yeah, it was incredible. Like, it was a massive confidence boost as well, getting that email and call from Progress. As you said, yeah, I did the pre-show match in 2019. I think it was October, around that time maybe. That was against Rex Armstrong. That was an insane experience because, getting to wrestle for Progress, even though it wasn't the main show, it was still like a big deal for me, and to perform at the Electric Ballroom in front of that massive crowd who were like always amazing. It was a great experience. I loved it. And ever since then, it's just made me want the main shows even more. And I had belief that I would get on them, but I didn't know it would be this soon. Because, usually it takes, people have been working 10 years and still haven't managed to get on Progress. And it's like, I'm so fortunate to have gotten that call from Progress during that time as well, because it was kind of out of nowhere. Someone I knew who had started working for Progress during that time emailed me and said, can you do a phone call with so-and-so from Progress? And I was like, why? Okay, yeah, whatever. Because I didn't even know shows were going to be running, because obviously it was still lockdown and that. So I had a nice long phone call with the two people. And it was insane to know that they wanted me out of all of British wrestling. They wanted me in the MPS, along with some of the top workers in the country. And again, initially I thought, oh great, I've got the opportunity to do MPS. I probably won't be back after a while after that. I'll just go out in the first round or something. Happy to be here. But then since the MPS, I've been on almost every chapter that they've done. I think I've only missed 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So, and been in some big matches for them. Like I even had a title match, which is mental.
I was gonna say we've got to mention that as well. Going up against Cara Noir. I mean, again, like you say, to not just be on it, to be put in that main event slot, for them to trust you, to be like, we know you can pull off this match against someone like Cara, who just every match he has is phenomenal. Like,
yeah.
I mean, how were you feeling going into that match, and then how did you feel after it, and what was the whole experience like?
So that was, as a lot of people know, the tapings were taped like in blocks. So we did like, I think 3 or 4 days at a time. We taped like 4 or 5 chapters. So that was the second day, I think, of that lot of tapings. And I'd just done a match the day before. I can't remember which one it was. And obviously I was feeling sore from the day before, like first one back in a while, feeling a bit beat up. But I was very excited because I'd wanted to work Cara for a while. I've known him for a while. I've trained under him, like previous to him opening Play Fight and everything, his own training school.
Yeah.
I'd been to Lucha Britannica, what's it called? London Lucha League. Yeah, I've been there times, and he was a trainer there when I went. So yeah, I've known him for a long time. Obviously, a massive fan. Like, I was a fan of his before he was doing the Cara stuff, like when he was doing the black belt stuff. Because that's when he was doing that. I came in. I first started training at IPW, and he was on a lot of their shows as black belt. So I got to be a fan of him then. So yeah, like I said, I know Tom. Like we talk a lot backstage at the Progress shows. So I was very excited because I knew like he wanted the match. He was excited for it, which gave me more confidence. Like I wasn't as nervous as I thought I would be. And especially like everyone, the backstage environment there is so positive. Like it feels like just one big like family, as cheesy as that sounds. But I remember like Spike Gervais coming up to me at the start of the day, and he was like, if you weren't good enough for this match, you wouldn't be in it. Like, you're going to do great. And just gave me a hug, and I was like, oh, thanks. I wasn't even that nervous, but that just put me even more like at ease. And then yeah, after I was definitely beat up. I was very sore. His kicks hurt. But I just I don't think it settled in that it happened. Again, maybe it's because there was no crowd, so it felt like another match on the tapings, I suppose. But it wasn't until it got announced and then got released on the network like a month or so later that I felt like how big of a deal it was, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, did you get that? Did you get that sort of, feedback from like peers and friends and family and stuff for being like, dude, you face Cara Noir, like, that's awesome sort of thing?
So, I think only one of my friends, like 1 or 2 of my friends, knew about it, like as the tapings were going on, because I literally told them everything. And they was like gassing it up, like, oh, this is massive. Like you've got a Progress World Title opportunity, like on the WWE Network against one of the best wrestlers in the country. And like when they put it like that, I was like, oh yeah. Because like when I'd done it, I was like, oh, I just wrestled Tom. That was really cool.
Yeah.
But hearing it put like that was like insane. And then when it got announced, the reaction was like so positive from all my peers in wrestling and friends and family and everything. So yeah, it was a mad experience. And one I'm very thankful for, definitely.
And you mentioned that faith that, like, not just Progress, but also that Tom showed in you and what Spike said to you as well. Was it nice having those sort of more seasoned wrestlers being like, this is your moment, you can do this, you've earned this sort of thing, especially seeing that it is, still so early in your career?
Of course, yeah, because especially coming into Progress, I felt a bit alien just within myself. Not like no one made me feel uncomfortable or anything. like I said, the environment's lovely there, but like felt a bit alien as I wasn't really like everywhere before lockdown happened. I was only really doing London shows like here and there.
Yeah,
like slowly getting like my name out there, I suppose, but nowhere near the amount that people like Young Guns and Joe Nelson and Kid Like Us Too has. And they were the other people in the NPS. I was like, I'm not on their level. Like, why am I here? but yeah, throughout as the tapings went on, I felt myself getting better and better, like due to the people I was wrestling and the people I was around. Because especially having the positive role models, or like veterans backstage, people like Chris Ridgway and Kid Lycos, Spike Gervais and Corin Noir all helped me so much during the tapings. Like, not even just like, obviously they gave me great advice like after and before matches, and I got to wrestle all of them during that time, and that was really cool and learning from them during that. But like, just them, I guess, kind of like saying nice things and like taking them under my wing and not making me feel like I didn't belong. Like I felt at home straight away there.
Yeah, for sure, and that's always so important as well. That's like, you know, whether it's somewhere where they're doing tapings like Progress Wars, or whether it's somewhere with a crowd. It's important to feel at home in any promotion and feel like you belong there. And you now you now feel that feeling more than say when you first walked through the door.
Yeah, 100%. Like, on the last tapings we did, it was like, oh, back again. Here's everyone. Like, it just felt normal, and it's like I love doing it. Because especially the drastic change between the first one and the last set of tapings we did. The first one, I came in like very nervous. I haven't wrestled in ages. A big deal, and I'm a nobody. And then on the last set of tapings, I'm just like, oh, here's everyone that I've been seeing for the last few months. Like, I love everyone here. I'm going to get to wrestle some really good people again. Like, I was just excited for it.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. And you talk about, you know, the guys you're in the MPS with, and we'll mention a few other names as well. You know, you had the likes of, you know, Luke Jacobs, Ethan Allen, and Lycos too, and Derice and Warren Banks, all been in progress and had this real rise since COVID, you know, lockdown was lifted and their tapings came back. And you guys are all sort of seen as this new breed of Brit Rest coming through and up the ranks. How do you feel about that? Like, how do you feel when someone says that you know you guys are like this sort of next gen coming through?
That's mad. I don't think anyone's ever said that before.
I feel like I see it a lot on Twitter. I feel like it's a lot of people that I know, a lot of wrestling fans that I know as well, sort of are saying, you know, these guys are the next guys that are going to be, you know, at the top for like a few years.
Yeah, that's so cool to hear. Because like, obviously, as you break into it as a trainee and that, you have the people to look up to. So when I came in, the people at the top who were still about during Brit Res was like Pete Dunne, Will Ospreay, Haskins was still here, Sabre Jr. was still over here. And it's like you have those top guys and you think like, oh, it's going to take 10 years to get to their spot. Like, they're all like insane, next level good. And they're putting on these mad main events at every show you go to help out at. And they're the ones that were doing the progress shows and stuff like that. So to be considered like part of the new generation coming through, it's really cool. But I don't know. It is really cool. I never, because even in that group, like you say, the MPS, I still don't consider myself on the level of the people like Jacobs, Allen, Lycos too, Warren Banks. But then again, we was all in the tournament together, and we've come up through progress together. But like I said, like especially when I've wrestled some of them, like the first time I wrestled the Young Guns, I was like, I'm outclassed. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, these guys are next level, and I'm terrible.
Do you still feel that, or do you feel like you're more on their level? Because I think if you look at like social media, a lot of people wouldn't put too much distinction between you guys in terms of quality. But how do you see it?
I definitely think I've improved a lot, especially with progress, getting to work people like that. Like I said, I don't know if I'd put myself on their level because they're some of the best wrestlers in the country, in my opinion, and I don't know if I'm quite there yet, but I'm getting there.
No, man, you're doing great work. You really are. You really are. And I mean, looking at that, do you think we've asked this to a few people as well? But do you think that in that way, like you said, how 2021 was such a great year, do you think in that way COVID was obviously not a blessing for so many reasons, but in purely wrestling terms was a blessing for you and, you know, Luke and Ethan and those younger guys coming through, because it meant that so many of the more established guys got signed up and went away, say America or NXT UK, and it left those spots open for you.
Yeah. So obviously, COVID hitting was a horrible thing for everyone, but it meant that like coming back into BritRes, obviously even without the progress stuff happening, there was going to be tons of spots opening up, and I knew that, and I was like, I'm going to do everything I can to be on as many shows as possible and be because I want to be considered like how guys like Ridgeway and like Austin Caro are looked at now, the like top BritRes guys. That's where I want to be. So I knew that there'd many spots open from people being signed to whoever, NXT UK, AEW, wherever they've gone. It's left like these main event spots open that the people that were just below that are getting to fill now, which means their spots open. So that means people like me can come in and fill their spots and slowly climb.
Yeah, absolutely. And then that's, only beneficial as well. Like I said, we spoke to loads of people here. We spoke to, in terms of progress guys, we spoke to Luke early on when we launched. We spoke to Cara as well. And it's all about the fact that, you get a lot of these people that, I guess before lockdown as well, when the likes of Pete and Trent and all that moved to NXT UK, it's all the BritRes is dead sort of comments. And it's you got to accept the fact that, before, Pete was Pete, he was just another guy starting out. And there's no reason that you guys can't beat those guys next, because that's how anyone would have started.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Ospreay wasn't always Ospreay. He was Ace Payne from the backyard. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He wasn't always the IWGP champ. Like, people need time to develop and get better. And if you don't give them a chance to, like, no one's going to develop.
Exactly. And you speak about your development as well. Obviously, a couple of weeks ago, you picked up the FNW British Championship. Was that your first singles title?
So no, I won the UKPW Interregional Championship like a few weeks before that, and that was my singles title. So yeah, I won them in quick succession.
You won two in like the space of a month.
Yeah.
I mean, that must be a great sign for you as well, in terms of, you talk about the progress you see in yourself, when those companies then have even more faith in you to actually take and run with a belt. That's got to be a real signifier for you, like, oh, something's going right, I'm doing stuff right to get to this level.
Yeah, because definitely before lockdown and everything, I was just happy to be on any show I could be. So now that I've quite a lot of shows and the promoters and everyone are trusting me as like face of their company or like the top guy getting to wrestle the bigger names and that, it's really cool, and it's really, again, a big confidence boost to me to know that I have gotten a lot better. Because when when Fight Nation were IPW or like whatever the situation was, it changed hands times. When they first started running shows at Milton Keynes, I used to go as a trainee just to help out, and like cut to 2-3 years later, I'm the top champ there. It's mental.
Yeah, I guess that's got to be a crazy. It's almost like you said with the facing Tom thing, having trained with him and then getting to face him sort of thing. It's got to be super weird to be in those sort of spaces, just working it, just being happy to be there, and then suddenly you're like top of the card sort of thing. That's got to be a really weird feeling.
It is definitely weird when you put it into perspective. Like when you take a step back, because obviously in the moment you're like, cool, I've got to do this match. It's got to be good. Like I'll just focus on this. But like after it, if you look back and it's just really cool to see how far I've come in a short amount of time.
Yeah, for sure. And going back then to sort of like pre-lockdown, because again, your career is still relatively young, especially pre-lockdown. We're talking early 2020. You'd only been in it sort of like a couple of years or so. So looking at that, were you concerned when the lockdown first hit that was sort of going to halt your sort of the rise you were already having?
In a sense, because I felt like I was slowly picking up more bookings here and there before the lockdown hit. And obviously when it first hit, we didn't know how long it was going to last. Like, I was here thinking, it's going to be a few weeks, back to normal, good. But obviously it lasted a little longer.
A little longer, yeah.
A little bit. And as time went on, I I don't know. I felt like I was gonna be able to slip back where I was because again, I wasn't really in a prominent spot. I was getting some decent shows here and there, but like I wasn't working twice a week every week or like on every big show in the country. And I was fine with that. Obviously, I was, like I said, happy to be in every spot I was given. So yeah, I felt like it would kind of stay the same, but luckily it's just gotten better. So
And do you think, like you sort of mentioned it before, but do you think Progress had a big impact on that in terms of getting out there and getting your name out there on the network and stuff, in terms of other promotions seeing you when, very few people were really on those early tapings at Progress. So you really had that chance to shine on your own a lot.
Yeah, 100%. I give credit to Progress for like my busy schedule because especially after the reception when it got announced from like friends and family and peers was amazing. And then I think after the second chapter aired, excuse me, yeah, I got like 3 or 4 different promoters that I'd never worked with before saying, "Oh, I just seen your second round match against Warren Banks from the MPS on the network. It was amazing. We want to use you."
Amazing.
Like, wow.
Yeah, that's great. That's really great too. I mean, is that something? I assume it's something you were hoping for, but I don't know necessarily if it's something you would have been expecting when you saw those matches come out.
Yeah, I was hoping for it definitely because I knew obviously the network is a big thing, like worldwide audience, and that I was expecting to get a few more followers, which I still do get tweets like whenever a new channel goes up, from people in America that are watching my matches, and I'm just like, how do you know who I am? But yeah, so I knew I'd get a few more fans, which was cool, and I was expecting to get noticed by a couple more people, but the volume of people that have like noticed me from that and wanted to use me on their shows has been surprising.
For sure. And we'll talk about Progress. Obviously, Progress, they announced a couple of weeks ago that hopefully their next show will be one with fans. Obviously, with stuff happening as it is, we're not sure what's going to happen. I'm sure you know probably more than I do. But looking into the new year, having been at Progress with those tapings, from the beginning, since they came back after lockdown for all those tapings, I mean, how much would it mean to you to then be on a Progress card in front of the Progress crowd? Not in a dark match, in a main card match.
Yeah, so that's something I've looked forward to since I got involved with it. Because as grateful as I am for all the taping stuff, I was in the back of my mind, I was thinking this is going to be insane when it's back in the ballroom and I'm on Progress main shows. So yeah, they're definitely, well, I can't say definitely because I don't know how stuff's gonna go with restrictions and that, but the plan is at the moment next year to have live shows back, and I have been given dates whether they'll be able to go ahead on. So I definitely know I'm going to be a part of Progress when it comes back, and I can't wait for it. Like I said, the pre-show was one of the most mental experiences ever, and it was just the pre-show. The fans would probably, yeah, I'd say 95% of them didn't know who I am because like I'd worked quite a lot of London shows because obviously I'm London based, so there's probably 5% of the audience that go to like the smaller London shows that I'm on. So maybe 5% knew me, but halfway through that match, I could hear like the whole ballroom chanting my name. I was like, "What is going on?"
Yeah, it's a crazy moment. That is a crazy moment, and we'll talk about that as well in terms of like the travel side of it. Because you say you're based in London, obviously a lot of your bookings pre-lockdown were in London. I mean, now this year, since shows, especially shows with fans, came back, you've been all over the country, really. How has that experience been, being able to travel a bit more and actually, get your name out there other parts of the country?
Yeah, it's great. Getting to wrestle new places brings new fans every time, which is nothing but a good thing. Every time I wrestle somewhere new, like I'm noticed more and more followers from that certain promotion, or I get a message saying I've never seen you before, just saw you at Wrestle Carnival, for example, in Nottingham. Like I'm definitely going to check out your stuff, which is really cool. The long drives I'm not a fan of, but it's a part of it, isn't it?
Do you do the drive-in or does someone else?
No, someone else.
Yeah.
I literally, my shoot job, I work like 10 minutes from my house, so I just
Right.
walk. I just get a car realistically, but yeah, it's so cool to be up and down the country, and I think, funny enough, I don't think I've had a booking in London since it's come back.
Really? That's really weird.
Yeah, I don't think I have.
So you've been all over, normally based in London, now you're not even in London, you're just everywhere else.
Or it was the only place I worked, and now where but London.
London places getting booked. What are you doing? You're sleeping on Danny Black here. Well, I mean, we'll talk about all the other stuff as well. But I mean, in terms of the travel, I mean, one key part of being a wrestler traveling around the country, from what I understand of it, is after show pit stops and things like that. Stopping in service stations and stuff like that. I mean, what is that experience really like? If you're like, do you like go as like a group to like, oh, we'll go like here for food on the way back or something, or what is that whole experience like?
Yeah, it's fun. Well, it depends who I'm traveling with. So a lot of the times, if I'm on a faraway show, one of my best friends is Callum Newman. Callum Newman.
Yeah.
So we usually travel up together because he lives in Essex, but it's not too far away from me. So I usually like go to his and we travel up together.
Sure.
Or so yeah, and before Maverick Mayhew moved, we used to go to a lot of shows together because he used to be local to me. So yeah, that getting to share a car ride with my best friends is always fun. It definitely makes the time move a lot quicker.
Yeah, if they're doing the driving, like you said, what are you doing? You like on your phone normally, or like do you control the music, or what's the situation there?
Well, again, it depends. Like on the last Wrestle Carnival show, my girlfriend drove up to watch the show,
Right.
and then drove me back home and dropped Joe Lando back home on the way. And that was a fun car ride. We went to a place to eat after the show, and then I was on the music, and we were just like, just messing about the whole time. It definitely makes a difference who you travel with to how far the show is and how far it actually feels.
Yeah, for sure. No, I imagine. Because I'm similar with like, I don't know if you're a football fan, but like I'm a football fan. I go to like a lot of football, like Brighton. Like I support Brighton, but I go to a lot of away matches. And like definitely you see the difference there in terms of who you travel with or what mode of transport you take in terms of the atmosphere, like, or how long it takes or feels to take to get to a place.
Yeah.
For sure. So I mean, like I said, this is one of our early interviews of January 2022. So what are your hopes for this coming year? If we were having this conversation in 12 months time, and I would to say to you, has it been a successful year for you? What would constitute for you a successful year?
I would say, I don't know, just I don't really have any like goals I can put numbers on, I guess. It's more for me just like to keep getting better.
Yeah, sure. Are there any sort of particular promotions you'd like to play at, or people you'd like to face this year?
Yeah, definitely. So I'd love to work. I tweeted this a while ago. I'd love to work OTT in Ireland. Though every time I see hype videos or clips, the environment and the fans look amazing. So I definitely would like to get out there. Rev Pro is another top Brit Res promotion. I know some people from there, so I spoke to them. So hopefully one day I can make it happen. I'm not in a rush though, because like I'm happy with all the places I'm working, and I've already got so many like bookings. My early 2022 is very busy.
Really? Which that's good.
I'm very happy for. If you told me that this like in 2018, 2019, when I had like one booking every 2 months, that next year you're already planning for next year and having to turn down bookings because you're already busy this weekend, and it's really cool. So wrestling as much as possible, which looks like it's going to be very good. Wrestling more bigger names, because I feel like obviously the bigger names are the best wrestlers.
Yeah.
get better by wrestling the best wrestlers, which I have done in progress. Wrestling people like Ridgway, Lycos, Kara, pretty much their whole roster. Like they've got the best of Brit-Reds in their roster. So yeah, I've got a match coming in January. I don't know when this is going to drop, but I've got a title defense at Fight Nation against Akira.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Hopefully this will go out before then.
Yeah, so I'm very much looking forward to that, and those are the type of matches that I'd like. Like higher spotlighted matches. Maybe some people outside the country that I haven't gotten a chance to face. So Akira, someone I met him in 2019, I think, because I actually did a show out in Italy.
Right.
And back then, I didn't know who he was. He was just I was on this show with loads of obviously people I'd never met before because it was an Italian show. And I saw him and I was like, oh, this guy's really good. Why isn't he like anywhere else? And then I see, like, I followed him, he followed me back. We lose contact, and then I see like he's gone out to All Japan and had all that success. See how much he's grown since I saw him in 2019 to now. That's insane. So I'm very much. I wanted the match with him back then, so I'm very much looking forward to face this version of him.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he's absolutely fantastic as well. You can see how all that experience, like yourself with progress, you can see how that experience has really shaped him and made him this almost like complete package of a wrestler now.
Yeah.
And I mean, in terms of, you mentioned the travel, is that something you'd like to do maybe this year, or like maybe 2023? Is that something you'd like to do? America, Japan, anything like that?
Yeah, 100%. One of my like all-time career goals is to wrestle in Japan, because the thing that got me back into wrestling and made me want to start to wrestle was a New Japan match. Because I'd never heard of New Japan before. I didn't know wrestling existed outside of WWE.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, I kind of stopped watching it when I was like, I don't know, 12, 13 maybe. Because it wasn't cool anymore.
Yeah. No, I get you. I'm exactly the same. I was exactly the same.
Yeah. And then my cousin still followed it casually. And I was around his once, and he just had it on, and I was watching it. I was like, oh, this is quite cool, isn't it? Why did I stop watching it? This is really good. So then I started to get back into the WWE side of things. And then I forget how I found the match. I think my cousin mentioned some shows outside of WWE that I should watch. Like I think Lucha Underground was new at the time.
Yeah.
And then like through clicking through loads of videos on YouTube, I found Ricochet vs Ospreay from the Best of the Super Juniors.
Yeah, of course, classic match.
Yeah, and I saw that, and I was like, I need to do this. This is what I need to do with my life. This is insane. Like seeing as well, because obviously only seeing the WWE side of things, I wasn't used to seeing people that I could relate to there, because like everyone WWE like that I was watching when I was younger, John Cena, Batista,
it was all the big guys like guys.
I've always been like a twig my whole life, so it's like see people like Will. So Will's my main inspiration, really.
Sure.
And seeing him in that match, like I saw the Union Jack on his knee pad and I was like, oh, he's from the UK. And then like obviously he was a slimmer guy. He's massive now. But he was a slimmer guy back then, and he was like, I've always loved the high flying style, but I'd never seen anything him and Ricochet did.
Yeah,
blew my mind, and I was like, I need to be able to do this.
And getting into that, because that's quite interesting. Because I mean, getting into that high flying style, like you said, that's what you are. That's what inspired you as well. That's what you were drawn to. Did you have any sort of athletic background that sort of aided that when you first started?
So I'd done street dance from when I was 10-ish up until year 10. So what's that, like 15 maybe?
Yeah, 10 is like 15. Yeah, just before GCSEs, isn't it? 15, 16, something like that. Yeah.
But yeah, I loved street dance when I was little. Like I loved watching the Step Up movies, and that's what got me into it. So yeah, I always used to be into street dance, and through that you like learn obviously body control, movement. You get a lot of core strength from dancing, and I think that kind of trained me for wrestling without me actually training for wrestling.
Yeah. Because you can look at maybe not that Osprey Ricochet match, but you can look at similar high flyers and be like, I can do that because I do similar in my dancing.
Exactly. So like stuff like a nip up.
Hmm.
I was doing that as part of my dance routines before it was in wrestling.
Yeah.
I was learning how to flip on my trampoline to bring it into dance. I was like 10, and now I can use it in the ring. Obviously, the core strength you get from dance and body control, and it sounds weird to say, but like the timing, which transfers over into wrestling, performing in front of a crowd. Like I'd done loads of shows at my school and outside of it.
Yeah.
Like, that. So I was used to being in front of a crowd.
Yeah, it all sort of melds together and helps out in that way. Almost
like every aspect of dance transferred over to wrestling, and I took to it very quickly.
Yeah. Go on then. This is a very far out question. This is a bit of a weird question. But as someone then with that background in dance, who do you look at in like Brit Rest locker rooms and be like, they'd be a good dancer, or like they could they'd be good at that?
Who's it? So obviously Tom's got the background dance in dancing as well. It's not street dance, but I'm sure
different style. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure he could. Who would be a good dancer? I know Will's a good dancer. Who else? I think I'm not sure. I think I remember Lycos saying he did a bit of street dance.
I'd love to see that.
So I reckon he's got something in his locker.
Yeah. That'd be good. That's got to be on some sort of Brit Rest show, doesn't it? Like some sort of dance off or something. You've got to pitch that somewhere.
Surely, I'll pitch it to Lycos for the Frog and Bucket shows. But yeah, funny enough, like my first thing I did on a show ever was a dance off.
Was it?
Yeah. So
when was this?
I was 16. I'd just started training.
Right.
And I went to help out at a show and stay to watch the show, obviously. It was an IPW show in Rochester, and the main event was Jack Evans and Helico.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And Leo Rush.
Yeah, great match.
Yeah. So, yeah, obviously the match was incredible. And then the match ended, and they started playing Uptown Funk because that was big at the time. And they all stayed in the ring and started having a dance off.
Nice.
Obviously, Jack dancing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and then they invited the crowd to get in and have a dance off with them. And like no one was really going in. And I was like, all right. So I just went in and just had a dance off with Jack Evans and Shane Strickland.
I mean, just as you do, casual, right? It just. I mean, not many people can say they've done that in their careers.
No, and that was the first thing I did. So that's.
Did they say anything to you after? Did they like? Were they?
Well, earlier on in the day, I had a guest training session with Shane Strickland.
Right.
So he knew me from that.
Sure.
Cool with me coming in and everything. And then I'd spoken to Jack Evans before and after as well because he'd come to a few IPW shows and he's really cool. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, Danny, I really appreciate you taking the time to chat to me today. We're just going to end with a fun little feature we do called Anatomy of a Pro Wrestler. And this is more sort of shoot questions about yourself and your life. So I'll throw a few out there and you let me know the answers.
Okay.
So the first one is my favourite pre-show meal.
This is a weird thing because I can't eat properly before a show.
No, it's fair enough. A few people have said that.
But like, I always get like a nervous tummy ache before I go out.
Right.
No matter how big or small the show is, I always get it.
Still that adrenaline sort of thing.
Yeah, even if I'm not like emotionally or mentally nervous, I still get it. It's just the feeling I get. And I feel like if I eat, it's going to turn into a real belly ache.
No,
so
sure.
I never it.
Sure.
I always after. So I could give you my favourite post-show meal.
Well, the next one is my favourite post-show pig out.
Right. So yeah. Any dirty chicken shop in Grove Park when I go back home.
Nice.
Going to like a Morley's or a favourite chicken.
Yeah, good shout.
Greasy fillet burger, some wings.
I was going to say you're a burger guy. You don't get like the bucket or anything.
No, I get a burger and then I get wings as well.
Nice.
So yeah.
Nice. Okay. Well, as a Londoner, right? This is something that I've never thought to ask, but as you mentioned the chicken, it seems like it needs to be asked. Right. What are the levels in terms of, because London is like the hub of fried chicken. Like you say, like you got Morley's and favourites,
Yeah.
and you get all the other like sort of local ones that you get in each borough of London, and then obviously like KFC is like the one that everyone thinks of, or like Chicken Cottage. But like, what are the levels of like fried chicken in London in terms of like what's good and what's not so good?
So it's odd because you'd find like these really dingy, like small, dirty ones that like have some weird off name, like favourable instead of favourites, and they always look so bad. But then you go in and it's really good. And then again, even with chains like Morley's is throughout South London, but then again, it depends which location you go to, because there's one near me that's terrible, and then there's one that's like near me but in the other direction that's amazing. So yeah, I'd say those level chicken chops are my go-tos because they're local and they are good. And then you've got like so one of my favourite places to eat when I go up Central London is Wingstop.
Right. Yeah. Sure.
Which is basically a more sophisticated chicken chop.
Yeah. I think they do it for like Pizza Hut as well, don't they? They do like the wings and stuff for them, I think.
Do they?
I think so. I think I heard that. That might just be in America, but I think I heard that somewhere.
Oh, cool. Yeah, Wingstop is definitely one of my favourite places to go when I'm up London.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
it. Nice. Yeah, we haven't had people say chicken a lot. We have a lot of McDonald's and pizza. But I think
I do like pizza, I do like McDonald's, but like chicken wings is my go-to food.
Sure. Really. Yeah, no, I think you're the first person that said chicken, and chicken's such a good shout. Yeah, absolutely.
As well, so you can kind of justify to yourself that it's
oh yeah, and you're doing the activeness as well, aren't you? You can justify like a greasy meal. That's not a problem.
Yeah.
Next one is the song that gets me the most hyped.
Ooh. What song gets me hyped? I don't know. I have a weird gym playlist as well, because the main genre I'm into is grime and rap.
Sure.
So obviously in grime, it's a fast-paced beat, usually aggressive delivery.
Yeah.
So that I like to listen to in life in general, really, as a main thing. I genres as well, but yeah, I'd say any grime song or UK rap is what gets me in the mood to beat someone up.
Nice. That's what you need, isn't it? That's all you need.
Yeah.
Moving on from that, the next one is like my favourite band of all time. It doesn't have to be a band. It can be like an artist or any sort of musician.
Okay, so I'd say it's so hard to pick.
It does put people on the spot. It does.
I could give multiple answers. So one of my favourite artists at the moment is Dave. I don't know if you know Dave.
Yeah. He's headlining Reading next year. I think they announced that today, didn't they?
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. So I'm going to see him next year. And that'll be the first concert I've ever been to.
So is it?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a good one to start off with. That's a big one to start off with.
Yeah. So he's one of my favourites at the moment. Of all time in the UK scene, I'd have to say probably P Money is one of my favourites. I feel like he's underrated as well. He doesn't get deserves as like a mainstay, like one of the pillars of grime, I'd say.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, but he's not at that like high. Like he's not been pushed to that high level, although he probably should have been.
Exactly. Like for me, it's easily on the level of people like Skepta, but they're not as known as Skepta.
Yeah. For sure. No, for sure. The next one is the movie that I chose, The Locker Room.
Oh. Well, at the moment, it'd probably be a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
Probably Elf. I love Elf.
Elf's classic.
Yeah. I really like 80s movies as well. Like Back to the Future, the trilogy is one of my favourite trilogies. Yeah,
Back to the Future is cracking as well.
Yeah. Apart from that, though, I'm a massive comic book fan. So any Marvel movie,
any Marvel, no, that's fair enough. Yeah,
Spider-Man.
The next one is my favourite way to relax.
Ooh, I like to. So I've got this acupressure mat.
Right.
Which, because being a wrestler, my back and neck are always stiff.
Sure. Yeah. Understandable.
Yeah. So I just love like just laying it out in the just laying back on it, and it's a really weird sensation because it kind of hurts a bit at first, but then once you're on it for like a few seconds, you like relax into it, and it just like loosens up your whole back, and you just lay on like 20 minutes. I'll like put on a podcast or something on the TV to have background noise and just lay there.
Nice.
And relaxing.
Yeah, that's cool. That's fair enough. What do you like on TV? What do you put on? What's a good like background thing for you?
The US version of The Office, I think I watched all the way through.
Yeah.
Probably times.
Yeah. No, I'm the same. Like you finish watching it and then you start from the beginning again.
Yeah. I remember at one of the tapings, I think Luke Jacobs was just finishing watching it. And the whole time every time we passed each other, we just quote an office quote at each other.
Amazing. Yeah. I prefer the US one to the UK one.
Yeah, same. I've never actually properly watched the UK one. I've only seen a few episodes, but I'm obsessed with the US one.
Yeah, the US one's really good. Have you listened to have their podcast? Who is it? Jenna Fisher and Angela have a podcast where they literally go through every episode and they like talk you through every episode, like all the behind the scenes stuff.
Oh, I had no idea about that.
Yeah, what's it called? It's called Office Ladies. They're the Office Ladies.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
So it's really cool because like that was the last time I started rewatching it. Is I started listening to the podcast and then I listened to the podcast and I'd go back and watch the episode to see all the stuff they were talking about. Yeah. And then at a certain point I was just like, no, I'm just going to watch the series through. And I pushed the podcast to the side and went back to it. But at that point I was just like, no, I just watched the series.
Yeah, I saw as well on Facebook because I follow this like Office fan page thing. I saw the writing credits for some of the episodes. And I didn't realise that the woman that played Kelly wrote so many.
Yeah, Mindy Kaling, yeah. And BJ who plays Ryan, yeah.
Yeah, he's a producer on it as well.
Yeah,
isn't he?
and so is the guy that plays Toby, I can't remember his name. He was one of the writers as well.
Yeah. I saw that.
Which is crazy, it's all like intermingled. Yeah, the US Office is great, that's a really good shout. The next one is my first job.
My first job was an apprenticeship, does that count?
Yeah, that counts, yeah.
Yeah, it was a physiotherapy assistant.
Fair enough. Where was that?
That was when did I start that job? 2018?
Okay.
I think I did it in 2019.
Nice. Do you enjoy it?
Yeah, I did enjoy it. It just like wasn't what I wanted to do though.
Sure.
So I left that and now I work as a one-to-one teaching assistant at a primary school.
Oh, nice. That's cool. You enjoy that more?
Yeah, I love it, yeah.
Do they know that you wrestle?
So the teachers all know.
Right.
And I get all the typical questions all the time. Isn't it fake?
And then you're like, you come and try it, and then you tell me if it's fake.
To be honest, I don't mind it. Like, if you really step back and look at it, wrestling is ridiculous. Like,
oh yeah, absolutely. It's just like going to watch like a theatre show or something, isn't it? It's like...
Yeah. It's like you can't take it too serious.
Are you not concerned they might just take all the kids? Like that's a school trip for them one day. That's a perfect school trip. It's just be like, let's go watch Danny wrestle.
That would be so fun. Yeah, because the old class that I had, all like the students all knew I wrestled, but now I don't think any of my current class know. And it's not like I'm hiding it, but like obviously it just doesn't come up.
Yeah. Just guys, this is what I do for a living.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Next one is my greatest fear.
The kid without fear, I don't have any.
No fear. No, I mean you are actually. It's a silly question, isn't it? Yeah. It's just it was on my list, and I was like, no, I shouldn't ask that, should I? But obviously not, because then it would ruin the illusion, wouldn't it?
Of course, definitely terrified of heights until I was like a teenager.
Which is bizarre when you think about what you do as well.
You know, yeah.
But that's where the no fear comes from, because you've overcome that doing that now.
Exactly.
So now there is no fear. Now it's zero.
Yeah, definitely not. I'm definitely not terrified if I go to the top rope.
That's when you're glad you haven't had something pre-match as well.
Yeah.
Brilliant. The next one is my favourite wrestling match ever.
Oh. I think I'll give you a top three.
Go on.
Because I have matches for different reasons. So obviously, Ospreay Ricochet, the first Super Juniors, that's the match that inspired me and wanted to make me start wrestling.
Yeah.
That has to be up there. One of the first matches that I remember watching as a child that made me fall in love with it the first time round was Jeff Hardy versus RVD in a ladder match.
Yes, I remember that one, yeah.
So yeah, obviously like loving the high flying style.
Mm.
I from as well, because I've always been such a big fan of like comic book based stuff. To me, seeing Jeff Hardy and RVD as a kid, it was like they was real life superheroes.
Oh
I guess.
yeah, they're high flying. It's like, oh my god, how is this guy doing this?
Exactly. So yeah, I that was one of the first matches I remember watching, and that made me fall in love with it. And then again, like those two stayed my favorite wrestlers throughout all my life. They still are up there for wrestlers. And I remember watching Jeff Hardy versus Undertaker in a ladder match.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's one of my favorite. I think it's one of the best like mix of high spots and storytelling.
Yeah.
Match for me.
Yeah, no, I agree because Taker in it, he's like Mark sells it so well. He's like, why am I facing this kid? Like, he clearly can't match me, and just because of this amazing match, and then you get that after the match, you get that moment between them, like where he's like validating, like, okay, yeah, you can hang. That was
Jeff loses, he gets up and says, "I'm still not staying down." He goes back, beats him up some more, gets up again, beats up more, gets up again, goes to beat him up, and he's like, "Nah, you're all right."
yeah, and that's got to be great as someone who likes that sort of high flying stuff to be like, there's clearly a way that you can mix it with anyone at any size. It doesn't have to be any sort of weight class type thing. Like, you can really mix it with anyone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I love obviously I love when I get to wrestle another cruiserweight or another flyer, because as I said, like the match that got me into it was Ricochet Ospreay. So that style I love, but I love mixing it up with like bigger guys like G Money, Luke Jacobs. I wrestle, and I love that. People that are like completely out there, like Tom Cara, who like would look at a match from a story perspective, but like way different to how you would look at a normal match. Like he doesn't plan a match like you normally would.
No, he looks at it, doesn't it, with that sort of like theatre, that acting background and stuff like that.
And I had, I'm not going to name drop, but my girlfriend knows a famous actor.
Right.
She got him to watch the match, just as a look at my boyfriend showing off thing.
Right.
Which was, and he watched the match with Cara, and he commented on like the storytelling thing. So obviously, like a big actor clocked it instantly.
That's really cool. Oh, I'm so intrigued now who this actor is.
She doesn't like me flexing it to anyone.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. But that's really cool that like an actual like high profile actor can be like, you can see the storytelling in that.
Yeah, I don't think I've actually told Tom that. I need to tell him.
You need to tell him that. He'll see it here as well.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome. That is really cool. And then the next one obviously is the obligatory My Dream Match.
Okay, so my all-time dream match would be Ospreay. Just because obviously he's the one that inspired me to start. He's been like loosely involved in like my growth over the years. From starting just being inspired from him from afar, and then getting to meet him and train with him a few times at different school stuff. He's been like nothing but helpful to me all the time. Such a nice guy. He like whenever you speak to him, it's so clear that he's passionate and he like wants the next generation to succeed so bad.
Have you told him? Have you told him that like he's like a huge part of the reason that you're in wrestling?
So yeah, the first time I met him, I was a trainee again helping out at a show, and he was doing a fan meet and greet. And I asked the promoter, I was like, "Can I go meet Will before the fans come in?" And he was like, "Yeah, go on." And I went up to him, and I think I must have said like 50,000 things in 1 minute. I was so excited to meet him. I was like, "Oh, you're my biggest inspiration. I want to wrestle you one day."
Amazing. I mean, have you talked to him since about that? Like, did he remember you like the next time you saw him, or?
He does remember that, yeah. So, I trained with him a few times. I've been lucky enough, like training with Will's some of like my favorite person to train with, just because of like the way he looks at training and wrestling, and it's so much fun as well as learning from him. And I got to try out for his when he had frontline wrestling.
All right.
He had the Young Lions thing there, and I tried out for that the first time. I didn't get it. And then I came back and tried out the next time, and he got it, and I got it, sorry. And he was saying seeing how far I'd come and like how far I'd improved, like it was an instant decision. Like I didn't have to think about it. Like you've got a spot, and
That's
that
awesome.
Yeah, hearing that from the person that made me want to wrestle was like so good. And like it's not like we're best friends or anything, but I've a few times since then, like over Messenger and stuff, and he's more than happy to give me advice and like chat to me. He's a very nice guy and one of, for my money, the best wrestler in the world.
Amazing. Yeah, for sure. For so many people as well. Like he is quality. He is class. Next one is my favorite place in the world.
Ooh. Oh, I don't know.
It doesn't have to be like a country or a town. I mean, like it can be a country you've been to, or just a town or anywhere. But it can also be like, I mean, Scotty Rourke said his bed. So like it can literally be like anywhere, like whatever your favorite place in the world is.
I'd say London in general, because it's so different wherever you go.
Yeah.
So say like going up central London, there's so much to do and see. It's great. I love going up there with my family, my girlfriend, wherever. And like within London, there's so many different parts. Like obviously getting to train in different schools. When there was different schools open in London, obviously a few of them were shut since the pandemic and that. But yeah, I've always just loved like traveling around London, seeing different aspects of it. And obviously it's home, isn't it?
Yeah, so, for sure. For sure. And then that leads on to the final one, which is my dream holiday destination.
Ooh. So as a kid, it was always America. Just because of like, I feel like even in England, you grow up on like American everything. Like everyone's American. Obviously WWE American.
Yeah.
And I've actually been lucky enough to go there. I went with my family in 2019 on a trip to Florida.
Nice.
We got to do that, and that was really fun. I'd love to go back there and go to different places in America, like LA, New York, experience different places. And then I'd say not for it would be cool for a holiday, but I just want to go to Japan.
Holiday and work. Yeah. Nice. Awesome. Danny, again, thanks so much for chatting to us. Really appreciate you taking the time. We always end with giving our guests a little bit of self-promo time. So if in 2022 anyone sees you on the network or on a poster or on social media advertising a show, why should they come and check you out? Why is Danny Black going to be the guy to see in 2022?
I'd say, especially now and in 2022, I feel like I get better every match I have. And I'm slowly working my way up the ranks in British wrestling, and I feel like I can be and I will be considered one of the top names in British wrestling. If not by the end of 2022, definitely in 2023. I feel like I am going to be a top name in Brit Res, so come see me now. I'm proud about it.
Be the guys to be like, oh, I saw him before he was huge.
Exactly.
Yeah. Nice. Awesome. Danny, thanks so much again. I really appreciate you taking the time. It's great to chat to you.
No, it's all right. One thing before we go.
Sure.
I just to shout out my friends because they always do it in their interviews, and I realise I haven't really. I've mentioned two of them. So shout out Joe Lando, Maverick Mayhew, and Callum Newman.